Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. Building momentum and galvanizing stakeholdership towards the passage of the PIB have been strategic and all-encompassing in the bid to get everyone on board. The National Oil Company is reaching out to the furthest state of the realm, and inevitably so, more power coming, precisely 2.4 gigawatts of electricity cascading from the 600 million standard cubic feet of gas expected from the Asa North or Haji South gas projects. There's more to the power. Legislative power is not only needful and inevitable, it is palpable. The National Assembly Lower House Committee on Downstream visited the NNPC on oversight. What were their findings? TAPE also gets a boost. Tender for the sale and purchase of Nigeria crude oil grades takes place. That's by way of highlighting the top stories. Details will also feature the expected, need to know, views from the streets, oil outlook across the globe, etc. It's loaded. I'm Akin Agbejile. This is Oil and Gas 4.
It is time we took our fates in our hands by supporting the government in the complete removal of subsidy on premium motor spirit, otherwise called petrol. Subsidy on petrol benefits the few, facilitates corruption, and stifles national development. The ultimate savings will be deployed to build schools, hospitals, roads, rails, and other infrastructure. Avoid the callings of enemies of progress.
NNPC, we touch your lives in many positive ways.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has released its 2019 audited financial statement with a 99.7% reduction in its loss profile from 803 billion naira in 2018 to 1.7 billion naira in 2019. NNPC Chief Financial Officer, CFO, Mr. Umar Ajia, said the 2019 audited financial statement, which was concluded 5 months after the release of the 2018 audited financial statement, will be published on the corporation's website for all to see, in keeping with management's commitment to transparency and accountability in consonance with the principles of the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, EITI, of which it is a partner. Giving further insights into the 2019 AFS, the CFO disclosed that general administrative expenses also witnessed a 22% dip from 894 billion naira in 2018 to 696 billion naira in 2019. According to Ajia, majority of the subsidiaries posted improved performance, namely the Nigeria Petroleum Development Company Limited, NPDC, which recorded 479 billion naira profit in 2019 compared to 179 billion naira in 2018, representing 167% increase. The Integrated Data Services Limited, IDSL, recorded 23 billion naira profit in 2019 compared to 154 million naira in 2018, representing 14,966% increase. The Petroleum Products Marketing Company, PPMC, recorded 14.2 billion naira profit in 2019 compared to 9.3 billion naira in 2018, representing 52% increase, while the refineries have maintained the same level of losses as in 2018, but which will reduce significantly in 2020 due to cost optimization drive. It would be recalled that the Group Managing Director of NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, had promised to sustain the publication of the corporation's audited financial statement as part of efforts to deepen transparency and accountability and keep stakeholders abreast of NNPC's operations. The Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has restated its commitment to seeing the refineries rehabilitation and pipelines revamp project to a fruitful conclusion. The Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, gave the assurance during an oversight visit by members of the House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Downstream. The GMD, Malam Mele Kyari, who was represented by the Chief Financial Officer, CFO, Mr. Umar, insisted that protection of the nation's energy security is a primary duty for the corporation.
We are committed to transparency, we are committed to accountability, and this is one of such type of events that keeps us to remain accountable, which is the oversight function of the National Assembly, as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I can confirm to you today that this corporation is now up to date in its financial reporting, published the 2019 audited financial statements.
Also speaking at the event, the chairman of the House Committee on Petroleum Downstream, Honorable Abdullahi Mahmood Gaya, said the visit was not to witch hunt anyone, but to engender a meeting of minds to find solutions to challenges bedeviling the downstream sector.
It is worth mentioning that the committee did not come for oversight visit to witch hunt anybody, but to create an interactive forum where ideas will be harmonized to eventually create concrete decisions that may move the downstream sector of the petroleum industry forward.
On his part, the Chief Operating Officer, Refineries and Petrochemicals, Engineer Mustafa Yakubu, explained that contractors engaged for the rehabilitation of the refineries would comply with the rules and regulations of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB.
We are using global engineering contractors to do the rehabilitation work, but we also ensure that the NCDMB requirement is met by these global contractors.
As part of concerted efforts to ramp up gas to industries and gas to power in the country, the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has revealed that the Asa North or Haji South Ano gas project, one of the largest greenfield gas condensate development projects ever undertaken in Nigeria, were expected to produce 600 million standard cubic feet of gas per day, an equivalent of approximately 2.4 gigawatts of electricity for the country. Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, made this known while delivering a goodwill message at the 2020 Southeast Gas Utilization Forum in Owerri, Imo State. Malam Kyari, who was represented at the occasion by the corporation's Chief Operating Officer, Gas and Power, Engineer Yusuf Usman, said NNPC as an enabler organization has since realized the obvious economic importance of gas.
Imminent completion of the landmark Obiafu Obricom Oben OB3 Oakland North gas pipeline project, which will help commercialize over 2 BCM per day of gas and generate billions in revenue as well as thousands of employment opportunities as gas hitherto stranded in the east are brought to the national and regional markets.
In his keynote address, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timipre Silva, stated that the best way to diversify Nigeria's economy would be by driving the development and utilization of the nation's abundant gas resources, describing the Southeast as a region where an industrial miracle was about to happen.
The Ministry of Petroleum Resources have made significant progress in the upgrade of the National Gas Utilization Framework by adopting and implementing innovative policies and initiatives aimed at repositioning natural gas as a major fuel and driver of our nation's economy.
To accelerate industrialization and economic growth in the Southeast through gas-based cost-effective energy solutions.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has expressed its readiness to partner with the media in ensuring that the Petroleum Industry Bill (PIB), currently before the National Assembly, is passed into law in order for the Nigerian oil and gas industry to deliver more value to Nigerians, attract investors, and address concerns of the host communities. Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malam Melekyari, made this assertion at the 3rd Annual Lecture and Awards of the Value Chain magazine, with the theme, The Role of Media in the Nigerian Petroleum Industry Reform and Investment in Abuja. The GMD, who was chairman of the occasion, said the synergy with the media was imperative to help enlighten the public on the issues the bill is designed to address.
I'm optimistic that through positive engagement and collaboration between the executive, legislature, and stakeholders, this law will be passed. Partnership with the media and other stakeholders in removing opacity and introducing transparency into this process, arriving at the best law that is possible for our country that will be adjusted to the realities of today and the realities of this industry.
In a paper presented at the event, the Secretary General of the African Petroleum Producers Organization, APO, Dr. Omar Farouk Ibrahim, called for more support and capacity building for the media, stressing that the oil and gas operators must rise to the occasion in providing the needed support to enable the media publish the proper narratives on the dynamics of the oil and gas industry.
The National Assembly, which is currently reviewing the Petroleum Industry Bill, may seriously consider making a provision in the law for the creation of a special fund for the development of energy press in Nigeria. It is in the interest of the journalists, it is in the interest of the industry, and most importantly, it is in the best interest of the nation.
In consonance with its transparency, accountability, and performance excellence state philosophy in the marketing and management of Nigeria's crude oil grades, a total of 339 indigenous and foreign-owned companies have submitted bids for the sale and purchase of the federal government equity crude under the 2020 to 2022. The virtual bid opening exercise, which was aired live on national television networks, was also witnessed by officials of the Department of Petroleum Resources (DPR), Bureau of Public Procurement (BPP), Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (NATI), Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board (NCDMB), as well as representatives of the civil societies. Addressing the prospecting off-takers shortly before the commencement of the bid exercise, Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), Malam Melekyari, who was represented by the Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Umar Ajia, emphasized that the event was geared towards establishing a robust mix of big international players and strong Nigerian companies in order for indigenous companies to leverage on the capacity and expertise of foreign partners.
This is done in the eyes of everyone, not only us, but also external stakeholders who have interest in transparency and accountability. And the team that will evaluate the bids is also composed of multidisciplinary team, including external stakeholders. So there's no way anybody, an NPC, can confirm to you or promise you that he will favor you in this selection process.
Providing further insight, the Chief Operating Officer Upstream, Engineer Adokiye Tombomeye, assured that the best practices will be adopted in the selection of bidders, as he promised fairness to all the bidders.
In line with our commitment to deepen transparency and accountability amidst the obvious challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, we have taken steps to ensure that the process will produce the best bidders that will emerge.
On his part, the Group General Manager, Crude Oil Marketing Division, Sir Billy Okoye, added that the bid submission process was modified with the introduction of a virtual submission interface on the NIPEX portal to ensure all applicants were granted equal opportunity and access to the Unified Submission Platform, stressing that the process was endorsed by the relevant regulatory bodies and government institutions.
The bill submission process was modified by replacing it with a visual submission interface on the NIPEX portal to ensure all applicants are granted equal opportunity and access to the Unified Submission Platform.
The Vice-Chancellor of the Borno State University, Professor Umar Sandabe, has commended the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, for its strategic interventions through donation of laboratories, libraries, computers, and scholarships, among others, to several universities, leading to academic excellence across the country. Professor Sandabe gave this commendation during an official visit to the NNPC towers in Abuja.
The NNPC, since its establishment on 1st April 1977, and at its corporate social responsibilities, assisted many tertiary institutions, infrastructural development, thereby contributing to the development of tertiary education in the country.
He described the Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, as a worthy son of Borno State and conferred an award of dedication and commitment to service on him. In his response, Malam Kyari stated that the NNPC as a national oil company would continue to remain a socially responsible corporation that will continue to touch the lives of the over 200 million Nigerians positively in the areas of education, health, water, electricity, and infrastructure.
For us in NNPC, we have clear social responsibilities that we deliver. I'm very proud today that Borno is recognizing that they do need to lead in leadership and learning.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on the feedback segment of the program. My name is Abigail Ojogbo. Liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, also known as cooking gas, is perhaps one of the cleanest, fastest, and environmentally friendly fuels for cooking. Today on this segment, we shall be educating you on the safest way to gauge the gas level of your gas cylinder.
The easier way to check your cylinder to know the level of your gas cylinder is for you to look for either a towel, put it in water, you rub it through the cylinder itself. You will see, definitely you will see where the gas are. If the gas are below, they have settled on the ground, you will see where that area, it will be cool, it will be wet, while the upper part of the cylinder will be dry, so that it has no gas in it.
It's not advisable for people to start checking cylinder to hide the level of their gas. No. You can either just touch the cylinder. Wherever you had the cool, the level where it is cool, that is the level of your gas.
To check the level of your gas in the cylinder, you pour water. Just pour water on the body. The water goes down, and you see from where the gas, the level it has gotten to, you can tell the difference, because if the up is empty and down, there is still a little bit of gas. You can feel the coldness.
Expert views also has shown that it is not advisable to shake your cylinder, to know the quantity of gas in it, as it could lead to outburst or fire outbreak. Gas is a very delicate household item, like I said earlier, and it should be handled with utmost precaution.
Just when it's finished, it's finished. That's all right. When it's finished, it won't come out from your burner again. I think that is all right. Then you don't send children to handle anything gas because of the highly inflation rate of the gas.
You can pour water on the cylinder, and then when it gets to the level where the gas is remaining, you see that it quickly dries and it shows you where the level is. But then you don't shake your gas cylinder to know when it's running out. And by touch also, you can also know where the gas level is. I mean, the part that still has gas will be cold.
Don't roll your cylinders, don't push your cylinders, take them, don't shake your cylinders when you want to check the level. Ensure you put the proper gauge And then if you want to check it physically, when your gauge is not working, you put warm water and check the difference in temperature, will tell you.
You have heard it all. When next you need to gauge the gas level of your cooking gas cylinder, remember to follow the safety measures outlined by the experts to avoid fire incidents that may cost lives and property. Always ensure safety first. And that's it on this segment. Please sit back for the other segments of the program. Hello and welcome to this segment of the program. My name is Faith Ayuba. Did you know that the Petroleum Industry Bill, PIB, is geared towards reforming the oil and gas industry, attract investment and address concerns of host communities? Did you know that the bill is primarily focused on transforming the governance, fiscal regimes and host communities in the oil and gas industry? Did you know that there is a renewed commitment on the part of the executive, legislature, and other stakeholders to pass the bill? Did you also know that NNPC has expressed its unflinching support to the government, the National Assembly, relevant stakeholders, and media towards passage of the bill? Now you know. Please stay tuned for the rest of the program.
Hello and welcome to Global Crude Oil Outlook. Oil prices edged higher, extending their 2% gains from the previous session after data showed United States crude stockpiles fell last week, while the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and its allies were seen complying with their pact to curb output in September. Brent crude futures rose 7 cents or 0.2% to $43.39 per barrel, while United States West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures climbed 8 cents or 0.2% to $41.12 per barrel. Oil benchmark climbed for a third day despite a resurgence in COVID-19 infections across Europe, potentially denting fuel demand. Meanwhile, Market Intelligence Department of the NNPC's London office reports that the global energy demand will fall by 5% this year and will not recover to pre-crisis levels until 2023 at the earliest. Also, the International Energy Agency (IEA) says in this year's edition of its World Energy Outlook that oil demand may remain permanently impacted, and for the first time in the agency's base case projection, demand for natural gas might start to decline in advanced economies by 2040. The report says the COVID-19 pandemic has caused greater disruption to the global energy system than any other event in recent history. In the agency's base case scenario, oil demand is 2 million barrels per day lower in 2030 than in the base case from last year's report, despite a markedly lower price trajectory. If there is a prolonged pandemic and deeper slump, it will be 4 million barrels per day lower and will permanently stay below 100 million barrels per day without any major policy shifts. And that's about the size of this segment. I am Owigo Okolo.
That's the package on Oil and Gas Forum for this edition. Thanks for your time. NNPC wishes you a jolly good week ahead. Bye.